Hello.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. How are you? You look gorgeous.
Thank you. I thought I have to compete with all those fabulous women you've had on. I gotta do something. Because you're going out here looking crazy.
No, you look absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I see Nicole Houston there, and I see Catherine Malfitano is here.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, how are you? Verdine Brown is here. So many people coming in to show their support for you.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice. That's
And
awesome.
a happy, happy, happy birthday, belated birthday to you.
Oh, y'all, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Birthdays are always a mixed bag for me, so I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here. So,
How did you celebrate in this COVID era of celebrating birthdays?
uh, well, um, totally social distance, very very small amount of people, at a nice home in Harlem, and it was not it just wasn't a Laquita bash, but
Yes,
I have to be grateful for the time that I have, and where we are, and just but maybe when all this is over we can all get together and have a time. That's all I can say.
exactly. I have my fingers crossed that we'll be able to celebrate like around my birthday in August. And
Oh,
so all of my friends who have had a COVID related birthday, you can share my birthday in August. So, but we have to behave until then so we can actually do it.
wash your hands, wear your mask.
Wash your hands, wear your mask, people. So let's get into it, sis.
Right, let's do
I'm
it.
so excited to have you here and to have you in my hot seat. I love it. I love it.
Now he's gonna get me, y'all.
No, I just want you to share with me, Laquita, share with me. So, we all know the beautiful artist that is Laquita, but can you start us off with telling us where you grew up and how music got into your being?
Hmm. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, here in the city, and I, as early as I can remember, I always remember having music in my home. So that was a given. My mom and mom's side of the family is from the country of Panama,
Uh
and
huh.
I grew up listening to salsa and merengue and different things, and calypso and reggae music. But my godmother, who lived at the bottom end of the brownstone, was a classical pianist, and so she played Haydn and Bach and Beethoven and things of that nature, and a lot of church hymns. And my love came at church at Cornerstone Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York. And
Hmm.
honestly, it sort of started from there. We were, as young black kids, like you had to be in church choir, even if you didn't want to be.
Yes. Yes.
And so my cousin and I, we just sort of did what we were told. And I remember my first teacher, chorus teacher, is named Mr. Wren, Lawrence Wren.
Yes.
That was my first teacher, and years later, I realized that he actually attended Westminster Choir College, and I didn't know that when I was a kid. So
Wow.
I was like literally like 6 or 7 years old, 5, 6, 7 years old. He's known me a really, really long time, and happened to be friends with my then mentor in high school, Mr. Ramon Reberg, who just passed away last week.
Hmm.
um, they happened to be really good friends. And little, I didn't know that, but it was just the angels sort of working together. I had a teacher who saw something in me in high school and sort of persuaded me. My voice was really high in high school. I had no idea what I was doing. He gave me everything that I needed, and didn't know that I needed at that time, CDs and things of that nature. And it all came because he heard me in solo voice class, and he heard and knew that I really wanted to be in gospel choir. And um, Ramon Reberg saw something in me that I didn't really see within myself, and I needed that at that time. He was truly a father figure to me. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, after that, I went to Performing Arts High School in New York City, and
So, did you know that um, the impact that the TV show Fame had on so many people, and that it was based on the school that you went to?
because I didn't even know. Like, and I see Miss Malfitano was there. She's a graduate of music and art. Her daughter went to music and art, went to LaGuardia, And I just thought of fame. I want to go to the fame school. I want to go to the fame school. Like I didn't even know that could be a possibility for me. And when I arrived, I was like, oh my God, everyone's dancing in the cafeteria. Everyone's doing this. Everyone doing that. So it was fantastic. It was exactly what a young artist in New York City needed in order to blossom and bloom. And no one made fun. Well, there were a few people who made fun of the journey, but as many people who did not really believe in me at school, there were far more people who did. And and that was what was most important.
Amazing. So from LaGuardia, you went to the famed Westminster Choir College.
I did.
Which is one of the best schools. Like when I was in high school in Philadelphia, we would make field trips to Westminster every year.
I know. Dr. King, I remember I remember him. He did not play. He did not play. I remember him, and I remember him bringing in the high school kids and them coming to some of our rehearsals, and he was a taskmaster. And those singers, you guys, you all just sang so well. It was the equivalent of LaGuardia, obviously.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it speaks for what you all have done, because that school really produced some great people, and you and I have a professor in common, Dr. Donald Dumpson.
Yes.
We have him in common, who was also a Philadelphia person. So he was my teacher at Westminster Choir College. And again, there are different angels in my life, and he's one of them. He really saw something in me, like Mr. Reberg, and he helped to foster my talents, and to make me know that, to allow me to know that anything was possible for me. As you know, when you attend all white conservatories, happen is sometimes, the kids who are from the inner city or whatever, they are sort of, well, what's going to happen with them? We know we have the kids from Pennsylvania and Texas who have, a great understanding of choral music and theory and things of that nature. We know anything is possible for them. But what do we do with the inner city kids? And I think when you attend schools like that, I think that thing comes into play, where it's so important to have someone on faculty who is African American.
Absolutely.
Speak life into the students, and to let the students know that anything truly is possible for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So while at Westminster, did you know then that you wanted to be the artist that you are now? Absolutely not.
My grandmother said, I want you to go and get a degree, something, whatever you need to do, come home and get a job. And so that's what I went there to do. And I was undecided. I just took all of my basic courses, and it was Donald Dumpson who said, Laquita, you need to get a music education degree. I was like, I don't really want to teach. I just want to sing. I don't want to do that. He said, Laquita, please go and get your music ed degree. And tons of his friends from Philadelphia, they also encouraged it as well. And so I think that was a good thing for me. And I, like so many others, like Lucia and Kevin Burton and a lot of other folks too, we did the music ed thing, but we were also members of the Westminster Choir. And
yes.
You were a member of the Westminster Choir, you get to go to the Spoleto Festival. And if you go to the Spoleto Festival for the summers, then you get to get on stage in operas. And
gotcha.
And that is why getting into Westminster Choir is such a prestigious, sort of thing. And for me, it was my way to sort of sneak my way up on stage. What's happening. So I'm grateful for my music ed time, and although it was very, very difficult, teaching a 740 flutophone class is not the move.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a lot. and it made me realize how much I really wanted to sing, actually.
Yeah, wow. Amazing.
You know how your mom says, like, do what you gotta do so that you can do what you want to do.
Absolutely. I live by that even to today.
Right? Yeah.
Do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do. I love that. There's a lot of people in here saying hi. Ken Hansen, Karen Slack, Ivan
Hey,
Griffin, David Huey.
Huey. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So,
Everybody.
so then from Westminster, did you go directly to the Manhattan School of Music?
I did.
Uh-huh.
Finished up my teaching practicum, and I auditioned for a few graduate school programs, and I got into MSM, and they gave me a wonderful, wonderful scholarship, and I decided to attend there. I was nervous because I had the opportunity to sing is what I wanted to do. But sometimes when you're posed with the actual option, you're like,
Yes.
I got to do it now. Now I get to do it. So it was great. It was great. I moved into Harlem, had my first apartment by myself, and I had not. There were there wasn't diversity my year going into Manhattan School of Music. In fact, it was myself and Pamela Simonson were the only African Americans, and then there were and there was a baritone that was there, and I can't quite remember his name, but that would only make three of us. So
Gotcha.
there were, for me, I went to undergrad and it was a predominantly white school. So, but for me to be at Manhattan School, I did feel like a small fish
Uh-huh.
pond. I didn't think that I don't know. I questioned myself. I questioned everything, but I knew I had something that was important. And because I'd gone to Westminster Choir College and I was a music ed major, I tested out a lot of the theory, history courses, and I was able to make that time to just practice and to find coaches and create, relationships till this day, still lasting relationships. So getting in there was great. I will say that I was there for 3 years at Manhattan School of Music, getting a master's and then a performance certificate. And I was only involved in one main stage opera.
Wow. What was that?
The Rape of Lucretia. I sang the female chorus.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I did only the opera scenes and outreach. Kenny, I sang at anybody's funeral home, nursing homes, everything. I just worked out all of my stuff. Like I didn't get into any young artist programs for the summers, except for, again, because of the work that I'd done at the Spoleto Festival. They invited me to come back after graduating from Westminster, and I was one of the priestesses in Iphigenie on Torrid. And I learned what it was like to be a sort of artist, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But I chalked those years up at Manhattan School of Music as complete and total surrender, because everything that I thought I knew about singing, I sort of knew, but I didn't really know. And I tended to attend tons of concerts, and I listened to a lot of singers.
Yeah.
And I sort of got my feet wet in that way, but I didn't get into a lot of the young artist programs. So
So I find that really interesting, because then not long after that, you started winning every competition known to man.
I know. It was
and there's some singers who are really good at competitions and win. And there's some people who are terrible at competitions and never win. You win the competitions and you're able to work. So
Yeah.
what was the mentality that you had going in to win the big competitions, both in Europe and in America?
I think it was ignorance. I literally did not think I was good enough. I did not think that I was good enough to even be there, so they weren't going to choose me anyway.
Wow.
I just went in with I'm going to lose anyway, so I just might as well give them what I got.
Wow.
I'll never forget being the first big competition that I did was the Eleanor McCullum competition in Houston, and I was in that competition with Simon O'Neill, with tons and tons and tons and tons of folks, but they all went to Juilliard. I went to Manhattan School of Music. My thought was I wasn't good enough to eat. I never applied to Juilliard, but I just thought I wasn't good enough. So I'm just going to go down here. I'm going to speak. I'm do my monologue. I'm going to do my musical theater piece. I'm going to do everything I can, and I'm just going to just go in and roll with it. But there was never a time in my life where I felt like I was actually going to win something, because
Wow.
everyone around me was so great. I mean, even the Met competition, like all those singers are still singing right now. Well, most of them are still singing. Everybody was. The Belvedere competition was Latanya and I. Like it's everybody. Like,
Yeah.
for having careers, and doing fantastic things. I just never really thought I was good enough, and I think I had a way of auditioning at that time where I was so zeroed in and focused. And sometimes I wish I had that still today. I'm thinking about so many other things when I audition, and I feel like I was such a good auditioner when I was younger, but now I'm like, I'm not that great of an auditioner.
Me either.
But I think there's a thing. I think there's a way to tap back into that, but I haven't figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember being a lot more fearless when I was younger.
Yeah, fearless, clueless, and ignorant.
Yes, exactly.
Ignorant, but like I always say, like, and I've said this before, to hear a voice like yours, or to hear a voice like our friends that we're talking about, during our generations talk a few weeks ago. There's no denying the essence and beauty of just the voice that you possess, Kenny, or the voice that Lester Lynch possesses, or the voice that a Kevin Short possesses, or there's no getting around that. They can try, but there's about just the sound that is undeniable, and deserves to be heard. And I believe that there's certain people who carry that in just the firmament of their sound. So
then from school and then winning all these competitions, you found yourself at the HGO Young Artist Program?
Yeah, funny. I was in the HGO program, and I was there. I won the competition. I took the leap of faith. I moved down there. All of my other classmates, HGO mates, had gotten into summer young artist programs, and I didn't get into anything.
Still?
I didn't get into anything. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? My then boss, Diane Zola, said, well, maybe you want to go over to Europe, and maybe you just want to go sing at a competition and just see where you measure up, because it's not really happening here. And I said, okay. So that's why I went and did the Belvedere competition, because I didn't get into anything. And when I finished the Belvedere competition and won, I came back to New York, and I then went back to Houston, and I packed up my things, and I went to Italy to do my voice teacher my then voice teacher, Joan Patino Yarnell's program. I went there so that I can go work on my Italian, work on my voice, because I didn't get in anywhere.
Wow.
So I kept chugging at it. And even though they were like, well, why are you here? You just won this competition, and you should be going off and singing at these things. I didn't think that I was ready. And
I think that that's so important for singers to understand, that you never stop learning.
Yeah.
You're always trying to get better. There's always something new to learn. The voice is always changing. The body is always changing. Your environment is always changing. And you just have to stay on top of the apparatus. There's always something to make better.
It is. And I knew it. And I knew that I needed to really work on my language. And I knew that I needed that time also to be away and to really focus and hone in. I left there, went back to work at HGO Studio, and my role preparations were ready. I was preparing Cleopatra at Julius Caesar, and I prepared that, and it's a big assignment to cover. And there was a lot of music to learn, and I was nervous. It was an all-star cast, and of course the soprano never got sick, so that was great. And I was just able to sit there and learn. And it was after that, Candy, is when I decided to do the Met competition, because I'd done it once before as a graduate student, and Anna Moffo didn't like me too much. So I didn't get passed on.
Wow.
But Julius Rudell liked me, and that was good. I didn't. I went back to work, and I did the Met competition, and I competed against some fantastic people that we know, like Ngwanda and, all those folks, and obviously Karen Slack, where we were all in that finals, and everyone did well. And, those things are crapshoots. Those competitions are crapshoots.
So what was it like for you to be in the finals? You know what you're going to sing. You know what dress you're going to wear.
Yep.
And you walk out on that stage with the orchestra, the full crowd, and then you start. What is that like? Can you tell the audience what that feels like?
I think, again, I was so, it was the first time I had experienced a panic attack. And
Wow.
it happened that day. And I remember getting a knock on the door from Laquita Mitchell and saying that you're first and you've got to go. And I was like, I thought there was an overture. She says, we don't have time for an overture. You have to go. So I went out and Beverly Stills was there. And I looked over at her and I said, oh my God, I'm getting ready. I don't know what's going to happen right now. But something soldiered up and I didn't even think. It was autopilot. It was autopilot. I just went out there and all I saw were the lights from the orchestra, and I saw Mr. Maestro Amiato. Saw his hands, and I knew exactly when to come in. I just did what I needed to do. I wasn't even thinking. It was just it was like blinders. You can't even, you don't see who's to the left of you. You don't really remember. And that's what you do. It's a laser beam focus that happens to a singer and artist when you're under pressure. So
then you hear your name called.
I was so shocked. I didn't even know what that meant. They were calling all the names, so you don't really know. I honestly did not know. I was like, oh, okay. I thought that everybody would I didn't realize what was going on. And then when we were walking off stage, I remember Beverly still saying, come on, Laquita, let's go. And I said to her, I'm so embarrassed to sing in front of you. And she said, why? I said, because I sang Manon and I sang Cleopatra. And for me, you are those roles. Like, I shouldn't even be singing that, like, in front of you. He says, oh, no. She said, you're a Brooklyn girl. We Brooklyn girls got to stick together. I said, okay. Which, I didn't think about it. I didn't know if that was going to catapult my career. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
It was just I won, let's move on. I literally did that. Next day I had some interviews and I had my release for HBO was that I had to be back in the state of Texas by 7 p.m. And I barely made it back to work.
Wow.
When I arrived, no one said anything to me.
So you just won the biggest competition on the planet. You jump back on an airplane, you get back to work, and nobody says, yay, congratulations, oh my God, one of our HGO. Are you serious?
Nope, I had a coaching. Oh, okay, yeah. Are you ready? I'll never forget it.
Oh my goodness. Now, for most people, that would be crippling.
I don't think that people understand what, I don't think people quite understand. I think they see a lot of success that I've had, but they don't know because I don't say.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing.
It's so interesting.
Why I went to Europe is because I didn't get into anything.
Right.
The reason why I did the Met competition is because I was not getting cast in anything. That's the only reason why I did it.
Wow.
It was out of necessity because I was the voice that was chosen, the one that won the competition, and I wasn't getting chosen for anything. I didn't even have a manager. I didn't have a manager until the last year. Everyone around me had managers. Everyone was being heard by European people that would come in.
Wow.
That was not the case for me. Everything that you see right now, I built.
My goodness. So Ivan Griffin is saying nobody knows the cost of the oil in your alabaster box.
Wow.
That is truly a testimony. My goodness. You know, there are a lot of people who would not have been able to come back from that and to have the type of career that you have had and are having.
Yes.
So skip ahead for me and tell the audience, then what is it like to go from A opera house to A opera house to A opera house to A opera house? Like, what is that? Like, there are people who will never be able to say that they made the entire A house circuit in America.
Yeah, I think obviously that production of Porgy that came through under Francesca Zambello was pivotal. It was pivotal in my life. So, you know, it's such a big show, and I sang all the Claras, myself and other people were double cast, and so that's how I was able to do it because of that show. Along the way, my then manager also made sure that I was able to sing other roles and to cover, you know.
Right, because you were covering Madame Butterfly, right, in Chicago?
I covered Butterfly, and I sang Musetta at LA, and I was asked to do some other things at WNO, but it conflicted, so it wasn't. I wanted people to understand also too that I sang other things as well, and I was able to do that in between that, so that was fine. The Porgy complex, as we talk about it, the rose of the thorn. It for me at that time it was a rose because it was able to take me to these different places, you know.
Yeah.
So that and that was a wonderful thing, and that was able to also get my name into the ears of the people who needed to hear me. So that was some time ago, and I am now singing, you know, with orchestra after orchestra after orchestra.
Right. I was going to say you have fashioned your career into like a very multi-faceted sort of thing, which I myself really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
I was saying, you know, to some colleagues last night that it would sort of bore me to sing the same 5 roles over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I need sort of a variety. So the variety that you've achieved with being an orchestral soloist and doing chamber works for soprano, doing recitals, doing new works, what is that like?
It's certainly different from opera, which I sometimes miss because, you know, you're able to create with a bigger community.
Yeah.
When you're doing recitals and when you're doing orchestral stuff, I mean, you are collaborating with the orchestra and the conductor, so that's a wonderful thing. When you're in recital, that is a way for you to express yourself artistically in your choices of music that you choose. Who you would like to honor, what voice, what writer or composer, arranger, librettist would you like to honor with your voice? So I'm looking at things like that, you know. When the orchestral conductors ask, well, can Miss Mitchell sing this or that or whatever, I constantly say, well, let me look at it and let me see if I can lend my voice to it, because, you know, before Miss Norman passed away, who was my mentor, she'd always say, it doesn't really matter what it is, I can sing it. Now, that's not the case for me. I'm not a Carmina Burana soprano. I can't do that.
I'm not one of those Carmina Burana baritones either. It's really like a baritone. Like, y'all can keep that. You can keep it.
I said, no, I don't know if I can do that. But there are certain things, certain weird, obscure things that she really enjoyed that can really lend itself to teaching you about being a better musician and a better artist. And so I'm always interested in that aspect of things. So if the conductor asks, you know, can you sing this concert? And we like this, we want Mozart, we want this, we want that, da, da, da. I'm like, okay, well, if you're leaving it up to me, let me try to curate this in a way that's going to make the audience think and make the audience, you know, perk up and listen. And I like to do stuff like that. I also enjoy, obviously, singing opera. I don't get to do it as much as I would like to. I'm hoping that will change now that I'm a bit older and I'm able to sort of hunker down now with my voice. But I do believe that this time of COVID, I that this is a time for me to, and most artists, to really explore, to really look at the things that you've always wanted to look at, but you never had the time to do.
Yeah.
To listen to pieces that you've never ever heard of before, by composers you've never ever heard of before, and listen to as many people as you can. And I think I have the time to do that now, and I didn't have the time to do that before. So
amazing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
So you brought up the name of a woman who I feel she walks on water for me. That is the late great Jesse Norman, and that she was your mentor, and I'm so glad that my fellow producing team, Miranda and Jonathan, had included her in this film.
Yeah.
Sort of to memorialize her and give some reverence to a lady who did so much for so many. How did she become your mentor? How does Jesse Norman become somebody who's in your corner?
I think, well, that came through education. I was in high school, so I met her when I was like 15 years old. I tell this story all the time. I was cutting class. I was at the right place at the right time. I was asked, would I like to meet Jesse Norman? And I was like, who's he? Do I get to get out of class?
Right.
You know, because I had no idea who this person was, even though I went to high school right across the street from the Met, and her picture was everywhere. I had no idea who this lioness was. And the head of my voice department said, Laquita, yes, you will meet her. And I got to meet her the very next day. And at that time, she was singing Di Valchiura. And I asked a lot of questions during that meeting. It was actually through the Ms. Foundation, and it was National Take Your Daughters to Work Day, which was something that was started by Miss Gloria Steinem. And so it was myself and like 18 other girls. And we just took a tour around the Metropolitan Opera House, and we met every woman that was in charge of a major program.
Wow.
So I was able to see what these women were doing, and I knew that it was of importance. And so being 15 years old and like going into the Met bookshop and Miss Norman walking through and everyone doing this.
Yes.
And she buys my first CD, which was Brava Jessie. Then she brought the spiritual CD, and I kept asking questions, and she said, you're an inquisitive one. And I was like, well, thanks, yeah. And she said, how would you like to come back and see me perform? And I said, I think my grandmother would be okay with that. I can come back into the city. And that was my first intro into opera. That was my first opera, to seeing her in Di Valchiura. So at the Met. And so the sound of the double basses, that sound that I love so much, it comes from me hearing that piece. That was the first thing I'd ever seen, heard and seen. And from then on, we met a year later. She took myself and Mae Carrington to FIT, and we looked at all of the costumes that were there. And she talked to us about 18th, 19th century patterns and things of that nature. We lost touch. Fates would have it that I would meet her again. And I think actually Karen was there in Philadelphia. She'd given this incredible recital at the Philadelphia Academy. And I ended up going, and I got reacquainted with her. She sort of remembered me, but not really. She sort of did, I don't know. And then years later, she did the huge recital at Carnegie Hall, where it was like 3-4 days of Miss Norman singing whatever.
Yes.
And I was able to go backstage and see her then, and for some reason she remembered me, and I don't know why, but she did. And then years later, happenstance and life would have it that I would move to Augusta, Georgia, and where she's from, and I began to get on these boards and things of that nature, and she came back home. And I reacquainted myself with her. She didn't really remember me, and then I showed her some photos, and she bowed her head and just shook her head and said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And then I sang for her. And Damien Sneed played, and it was the first time she'd heard me sing. And I remember her standing up. I sang Hatti Stiliebe Berut, Joseph Marx, and then I sang some coloratura piece or something, and she just stood up and she said, "All right, all right." And I said, "Okay." I think I got her attention. And then from there, we started to talk more and collaborate more. And I brought in singers to benefit her school. And then I met Mark Markham there because he would come.
Mark just signed on to the conversation. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, I met Mark there, and he was playing for her, and they all probably thought, "Who's this kid?" Like whatever. But I was just in awe of what they were doing. And then I got you and I both were given the opportunity to return to New York City Opera and sing Traviata.
Oh my God, I remember that night. You were like, Miss Norman's here, Miss Norman's here. I'm like, wait, what? Because that was my New York City Opera debut. I was like, what? And what was so tragic about it is that Whitney Houston died the day before.
Or did.
And I was a wreck. I was like,
yeah.
My cover might have to sing because I remember crying all night long. But you were like, Miss Norman is here. And I'm like, oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe she came. I invited her, and she came, and I'm singing Soprano, and I look out and I see Miss Norman there, and I'm like, Jesus, I can't believe this is happening right now. Like, talk about, I was so nervous. I was so incredibly nervous, but I was so, when I think back on it, I'm just so pleased that she would think that much of me to come,
Yeah. Beautiful.
I was really, really grateful to her for coming.
So tell me, like, you were one of my friends who donated so generously to the grassroots fund for the movie. Like, what was it that moved you to do that? Because we were asking for money in December, which is a tough time. It's holiday time. People are traveling, but you found it in your heart and in your spirit to donate. Like, what brought that on?
Well, I think, first of all, it was of no consequence for me to give to you. I think people need to think differently about money and think about where they put their money and what causes they decide to support. And if there was a cause that was more that was of any importance, it was this. As far as I'm concerned, this film has a propensity to really expose a huge amount of people to a genre that some people think is antiquated, but it isn't. It's so vibrant. It's so alive.
Yeah.
And I just want everyone to see the vibrancy, and I want everyone to experience the stuff that we've experienced. But I also want people to understand that we are able to live in this vibrancy because of what those people did.
We stand on great shoulders.
We stand on great shoulders. And I want people to see what these people had to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
We're removed from that time, but we're not that far removed.
Not at all. Not at all. We thank you for that. The whole team thanks you for that. And if anybody out there hasn't donated, you still can. And
Please
just go.
donate.
It's in the bio of the Black Opera Instagram page. You can click on the link and find out more about the piece and donate as you see fit. And we thank you in advance for that. So we have a lot of things in common.
Yes.
We have the same agents.
We do.
And so that has led to us singing together a lot, in America and overseas. I remember we were in Poland a few years back, and that was so much fun.
Amazing. It was amazing fun. And, I tell people all the time, make sure whatever goes on, whatever happens behind the scenes with your colleagues, make sure you make everything right. Because you have to stand on stage with singers, and you're traveling to these different parts of the world with these singers. You want to make sure that the person that you're standing next to, that if anything happens, that person has got you.
Got your back.
That person has got your back. And for me, I know that when I stand on stage with you, and we have a network of people that we know. If anything goes down, Kenny,
Yeah,
have our back.
absolutely.
And that is one of the most amazing things about what we do in this business and the relationships that we form. In knowing that these people that we call our friends and our colleagues have our backs.
Absolutely.
That means everything to me.
Yeah.
It's everything.
And one of the other things we have in common is that we have the same voice teacher.
We do have the same voice teacher.
We have the same. His name is Gregory Lamar. And when I tell you, for me, he's the last 2.5 years that we've spent together, he has changed my life for the better. I don't think that it's any sort of coincidence that I've been doing so well. And I believe that it's because of our collaboration.
Exactly. To have someone who stands in your corner, who will give you the hard, honest truth, who will sit down and assess what's going on with the voice, and someone who he cares about the art.
He does.
No, there's no getting around it. If you don't know who Gregory Lamar is, you need to like him. Go to Gregory Lamar on Facebook. You will learn so much just by going down his page. He is when I tell you, an opera historian.
Yeah.
Putting out videos of people that we've never heard of before.
Right.
That we've never heard of before. This is a man who is truly, truly, truly dedicated to the art of singing. And there is no doubt in my mind, like you say, Kenny, that things have certainly turned around for me as well, working with him. I'm just so incredibly pleased to call him my teacher and my friend.
Oh, he's on tonight. Hi, Gregory. I didn't know you were here, Maestro.
Yay! I had no idea he had Instagram. Look at you. That's fantastic.
Look at you. And Lester's here too. Hey, Lester Lynch.
Yes.
It's so great to see you. Yeah, he has changed so much for me, and I cannot wait until Corona releases us, because I'm going to set up a cot in his living room, because I need all the lessons in the world. I need all the lessons.
We need all the lessons we can get. And I've been I've been having lessons too, because I find in this now that COVID is here and we're unable to sing for our audiences, that we need to find a space that's ours.
Yes.
As artists, like, you need that private space, that space where nobody can come in, and you're just like, let me try to take care of this.
Yeah.
And remember that you're still a singer.
Yes.
No matter what, our lives have purpose, no matter what, because we're breathing. But there's still this element that singers and musicians need, of the acceptance of the audience. And that thing, sometimes it messes with you.
Yeah.
Had that opportunity to do it. So we have to create a space where it's just us.
Yes.
And a voice and our teacher or a coach or whatever that we can give to the art that we've sacrificed so much for.
Absolutely.
I think that's what people need to be thinking about right now. How can we get busy doing the thing?
Get busy doing it. And, I think some people should know, that everybody should know, that right as Corona was wreaking havoc on all of us, you were in rehearsals for your role debut as Aida.
I didn't even make it. I made it onto the stage for a staging rehearsal.
Wow.
People were sick then. And I remember them sending some people home. And I was like, I went home that day. And you know me, if anyone knows me, I like to cook, and my fridge is always full. I looked at my refrigerator, and I was in Virginia where my family lives, and I said, I'm packing up this fridge, because I don't feel like this is gonna go through. And I did a television interview the very next day, and when I came home, I got the phone call that it was time for me to go home. How I wished that I was able to walk down the aisle or sail down the aisle.
And you will. You will. I know you will.
I pray so, and I again, these roles that we've been dreaming of, these things that we've been dreaming of, Kenny, that have been so that have been made famous by the people that are in your film.
Yeah.
It's of importance for us to still dream. It's important for us to study right now and to be thinking about these people and to be emerging into this thing,
Yeah. You're getting a lot of affirmations here about the fact that you will sing Aida, Christy Swan, Liz Stevens. Everybody's...
I want to thank you all because before I sing a role, I always hire and or bribe people to sing through the roles with me. And Christy Swan is one of them. And he is a fantastic, Amaris.
Yes.
Just a fantastic Amaris. And so, yeah, it is not the only thing that I dream of. I dream of singing, Yenufa and Arabella.
Uh-huh.
And I dream of singing Manonesco. I dream of those things as well.
Wonderful.
I pray that I'm able to do that. I would like to dig my hands into some Schoenberg and the 7 songs. Like, I really am interested in looking at that, and I don't know, and doing more recitals, obviously. But
yeah,
I'm really dreaming and hoping in that direction because it's never been done before.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so you also have a special relationship with the Color of Music Festival, which I think is so important. Would you tell the audience about that?
The Color of Music Festival was founded by Marlon Daniel and Lee Pringle. It's now run by Lee Pringle. And it is a festival that's dedicated to featuring musicians of African-American descent or in the diaspora. And it's been great. You've also done some work with Lee, singing some of the requiems and things of that nature. And Lee has really given me an opportunity to sing some things that I haven't done before, work out some kinks vocally with things, and also present me in a way that a lot of people have not really felt the way to present me. So I have nothing but respect for him. And I do believe that festival has the propensity and the ability to do some really good things. So
absolutely,
what happens? Yeah.
So one of the projects was so interesting to me that you sort of recreated a Leontine Price recital evening where you sang the Hermit songs and.
Yeah, I sang the Hermit songs. I did Knoxville that year.
Mm-hmm.
I also, Miss Price always begin with some sort of concert aria, which I agree with. I think that most recitals should begin with that arc. We can see the arc. We can see you're starting with Bach, Haydn, Mozart, whatever. But we can get that standard, and then we can move into everything else.
Yeah.
So much of our careers right now is revolving around English and new music.
Yes.
So it's really a good thing for us to remember those things that got us where we are. So
absolutely.
That is really, I think that's a good thing. So yeah, I recreated those recitals and not necessarily singing everything that she sang, but making sure that it's close to them.
Right. Absolutely. So with our little bit of time left, because Instagram only gives you an hour and I could talk to you forever and ever, but like it's going so fast. You have now also delved into teaching voice.
Yeah.
What is that about? What is that like?
I've always sort of taught. I'm trying to utilize my music ed degree. So I've always taught for the summers at Manhattan School of Music for their summer camp. And these are younger singers. And then I sort of took the dive this past year in teaching at Brooklyn College. And so that's been fantastic, getting to know the artists there. I don't have a very big studio at all because I feel that, you know, I'm singing still. So I'm not going to be there all the time. So, hey, Dave, Raglan. So it's been great. I love to mentor anyway. And so I'm struck, though, that the learning is a bit different. So I have to sort of switch things around in my mind. I'm reading books on how to deal with the students of this time. They learn differently. They think differently. They're moving in a different direction, and everything is so fast. And in Brooklyn College, although a conservatory, it's not like Manhattan School of Music or Juilliard or anything like that. A lot of these students are not versed in things. So for the first time, I'm literally giving music history lessons and theory lessons.
Wow.
I mean, like it's a lot because, you know, there isn't much happening in that way. You know what I mean, for them. So you're introducing opera to them and classical singing to them. So that's great. And I'll return in the fall. I think we'll be teaching virtually and some distance. I think we're going to be doing that. And then and I've also been asked to teach at the Manhattan School of Music, their pre-college division. And
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And I'll also be on the advisory board for Manhattan School of Music for the opera program. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm trying to do everything I can to sort of do this. And then you and I are involved in a mentorship program that I guess we'll have to figure out how we're going to roll that out a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my hands are in a lot of different, you know, pots. However, I do think it's still very, very important that because you do so much for a lot of people. You do so much for people. I think that it's important that in the midst of you doing all of what you do for people, you have to take some time for you.
That's true. That's true. And it's strange, even in COVID, I haven't really been taking a lot of time for me. You would think it would be easy, but I've been so busy with so many different projects. It's crazy.
So many projects, so much going on, but I, as a friend, do for you right now have your special private time where you can just do for you because you're giving so much, and sometimes you're not going to give it away. I know you're not. I just implore you to just try to think. And I'm feeling that way too. I feel like I'm working more now than ever, and I'm home, and so I know that I'm doing stuff behind the scenes. A lot of people don't really know what things that I'm doing, you know. So, and I feel a bit pulled. But
yeah.
When I am finished here, I will certainly turn on my music and make sure that I am connecting to that thing. Everyone, all you singers out there, don't forget, Liz Stevens, I gave money to your recital yesterday and was unable to get on. I didn't know how to get on to your recital yesterday. But
no.
Sang beautifully. But I just want to encourage everyone to find that special place so that when it's time for us to come back, that we are there and we're ready. You know?
Absolutely.
Don't forget that special thing, that passion, the sacrifices that we've made in order to get where we are. I really, really am trying to implore people to do that.
So with the few minutes we have left, tell us about your social media talk show that you have on Facebook. When is it? What time is it? Who's your next guest, if you can tell us?
This Wednesday, I can't even tell you what. It's a big conglomerate of things. I'm still working on it. I'm not quite sure, what's happening. But to be open and transparent, I've suffered a lot of loss. And I feel that it's my time right now to just sort of gather myself together and to sort of take care of my heart.
Yeah.
So Black Lives Matter has happened, and everybody is just overflowing with issues and things of that nature. And I feel a heaviness behind it. And I don't think that people understand that as we keep talking about equity and things of that nature in the opera business, we are reliving trauma. And so we have to take care of ourselves. I think
absolutely.
Ms. Catherine Fontano. So my show is, I'm not going to be doing it every week as we move into July, but normally it will be Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on my Facebook live chat. And tomorrow I'll have a better understanding of what I will do on Wednesday.
Okay.
I do have other people lined up to come.
Great.
But I will say this as we finish, as I tapping in to that thing that I love about singing, about creating. I remember Catherine Monfitano singing the Kostelnichka, which is the mother in Yanufa at Houston. And I remember her giving me some advice because I was not only in that show, but I was in Manon as well. And she said, Laquita, when you walk out on stage, you have to remember that you are creating. You're creating the dimensions, you're creating the space, and be whatever it is that you want, do whatever it is that you want, and know that that space that you trust is real and honest.
Absolutely.
An actress, Catherine Monfitano was just a great actress, and I always carry that with me.
And with that, everybody, we got to go. Thanks for joining me. Catch me here next Monday at 7. Bye.